Welcome to another episode of the Nanaya West Show. I am today with Stephen Voice. Ooh la la.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm super excited, honestly, for this. I really can't wait to dive into
Mm.
whatever we're going to be talking about.
Let me tell you this. When my sister said he's seen Ludicrus, I said, which Ludicrus? How is he walking outside?
Oh man, oh man, oh man, and it's funny because like at that event where Ludacris was performing,
Yes.
everyone, I would see people looking at me like, Ludacris, is that Ludacris?
Yes. So it's it's like you are his doppelganger.
You know, Actually, I was hoping I would meet him so
Hmm.
I could talk to him. We could say like, can we do some genetic research to see if there is some sort of relation? Because
There
you know,
might be.
yeah, you know that there is a resemblance when you yourself admit that there's a resemblance.
Yes.
Like, I was looking at his photo on the badge that we had, to get into the event, and I kept going like, is that me? Is that me? Who took my photo and put Ludacris's name on it? Like,
Yeah, yeah. So my sister made me aware. So when we were coming to sit, it's like you need to sit in front. You need to listen to this guy. Make sure you get his contact. Make sure you get him on your podcast. It's like, okay, sister.
sister's
And
awesome.
today we are here. I
Here we are.
appreciate you, Stephen. Thank you
I
for this
appreciate you too.
opportunity.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes. So I've been following you on almost all your social media platforms, and the wisdom you spit out is
Uh,
beautiful. The Your music, the images, I look at it and it's like, wow. This is some talent that we need to pay attention to, because it's like the best hidden talent here that has not blown out of proportion. So I'm your number one fan. There may be
ah,
number ones, but now I'm too African. I don't care about them. I'm in
that's
front.
right. That's right. You own it.
I own it.
You own it. That means everything. Thank you so, so much. So much.
You
Yeah.
you are most welcome. So let's get to your beginning story, Stephen Voice.
Yeah.
Tell
So
us a little bit. Yes.
how I got started in music and then all that. Sure. I mean, I'll get into it. So, I mean, I was born in Nigeria. I'm an Igbo boy, Igbo right here. Born in born in Nigeria. Growing up, my mom loved Michael Jackson, and anyone that listens to my music can hear Michael Jackson's influence. And my
Mm-hmm.
mom loved Michael Jackson. So growing up, I loved how much she loved Michael, to the
Mm.
point that I started to, dive into his music and watch his concerts on TV. And I became like so enthralled by the way he could just make people feel these really powerful emotions just by singing. Just by
Yes.
singing, people would faint, people would cry, and I wanted to be like Michael. But more importantly, I wanted to be like Michael, because I knew my mom. I knew how much my mom loved Michael. So that alone
Mhm.
was enough for me to want to be like Michael. So as I grew up, I would sing like Michael. I would copy Michael. But honestly, I was born with the gift to sing, and I'm very grateful for that. But I didn't really take it seriously. It's when my mom passed away in 2010. It's the first time I turned to my music as a way, for more than just something I could do. It was a way for me to save myself, because my mom was my hero. She meant the world to me. She inspired me in everything I did, and suddenly she was gone, and I was lost, and I needed a way to
Mhm.
release that pain inside me. And then so I turned to music, and music helped me release all of the frustration, all the sadness, all the anger I was feeling, the darkness. I was in a very dark place at that point in my life, and I, put that music on SoundCloud and platforms like that. And I remember people reaching out to me going, your music helped me get through what I was going through. Like, they
Oh
would tell me that
wow.
my music was helping them cure themselves or help them find themselves, because it made them realize that they weren't alone in this world. And I think that's the first time that I realized that music had this power to connect us,
Mhm.
to bring us all together. And so suddenly music was more than just something I could do. It was really a calling. It was a way for me to not just heal myself but heal others. And so ever since then, music transformed into this thing that I knew I was born to do. And I think that's it. That's my mom in every single way possible steered the direction, and is the reason that I am the person I am today.
You know, you talking about this, and I have a young man, I have a teenage son,
Yeah,
and I'm thinking the impact we as parents, as mothers, have on our children. Sometimes we don't think about that, but
yeah,
hearing you speak about that, it's kind of put a little caution on me to be very mindful of, the seeds that, we sow in our children and how they germinate with
yeah,
them and into them. And during this transitional period that you're talking about, when your mom is no longer there, how do
yeah,
you connect
yeah.
with her? But then also, how do you stay above the waters, keep your head above the waters, and not sink into depression or loss or whatnot? You were asking how we're tying it all up. This is mental health.
This is it. This is it. This is it. There it is. Well done. When no, what you're saying about about you have a son, and I mean you're pursuing your passion right now. You're doing it right now, and I think those things is like, as kids watching your parents, when you see them passionate about something, it fuels a fire inside you. So
Mhm.
you're already doing everything that you need to do. I just wanted to say that. So I don't even know you as a parent, but I already know that you're doing everything that you need to do. So kudos to you right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. So now we know how you got into the music. But before getting into the music, you were doing something else.
Yeah, yeah. So before the well, it's funny because music has always been a part of my life. It's always, I just feel like when people ask me, I look at when people ask me what my music origin story is, I never quite know where to start, because it's been a
Hmm.
whole, it's
It's
been a
always
part of
been
my,
there.
it's always been there, some way, shape, or form, either professionally or just something I could do. But I'm Nigerian, I'm Niger. So as a Nigerian, growing up, there were only three professions. There were only three professions that we were allowed to do. Only three: doctor, lawyer, or engineer.
Engineer.
And
Now,
I think any kid knows that these are the three pillars that we must fulfill. You must. And so I grew up in a house. My dad, actually, my dad was, he studied electrical engineering. He went into
hmm.
petroleum. My mom was a microbiologist. Um,
Oh,
yeah, yeah. So and I've always had this aptitude for the sciences and math. I love math. Look, I'm the kind of person that will do calculus for fun.
oh
I'm that
no,
person.
Stephen. Let me tell you this. My first or second year in university, I decided to go take this actuarial science.
Mhm.
I don't know what got into my head to think about that. I sat in the class once, I got out.
You're like, nope, this ain't for
No,
me. This is not the one.
statistics wasn't for me. Wasn't for me. I don't know. I just passed it and got into nursing. That's it.
Yeah, I get it.
So
I
to
get it
do calculus for fun,
for fun. Yeah, it's
salute.
funny because there's a so in university, and I forget the name of the calculus book, but there's one specific calculus book that I was doing, and I realized that in the problem that they had in the solution, there was an error. And I was ready to write them and be like, by the way, there's an error. And I just felt like, nah, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go. But I was that kind of person where I would sit down and be like, I'll pull out my calculus book and just do calculus and things like that, because I love math, I love science, I love physics, love biology, I love chemistry. I think for me it's because I'm obsessed with the universe and how the universe is, and where are we and how
Yep.
are we, and all
Yes.
these, because there's these forever questions that can never truly be answered. And is that quest to discover the undiscoverable that I feel drives me. And I know it's an insatiable thing, because you'll never get satiated, because you'll always have, you might get one question answered, but there's always the one above it. And I think for me anyway, music and science, all of that, they're all the same thing. I mean, music is math at the end
Hmm.
of the day. And I think I'm lucky that I have the aptitude for creativity and the
Yes.
sciences, because I get to put them together and see it all intertwine and see the way that they bridge. But no, I studied electrical engineering at McGill University in Montreal. And I graduated from that, and I was very happy I did. Made my mom proud.
Yes.
But I always knew that I was going to pursue that and pursue music. Like I didn't
Music.
think that I was not going to sacrifice one for the other,
Mm,
because I've never liked, that saying people say jack of all trades, master of none. I, I
yes.
I don't believe in that. I think you can do it all and master it all,
Hmm.
and that's always just been my forte. So I studied engineering and I got into tech. So I do tech and music all at once.
so so we met at a Blacks in Technology conference. You
Hmm.
were with SAP, and
Yep.
I tell you that is one in I've been in this place for almost a quarter of a century, and that was the first time I was in the presence of people who looked like
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
who had the mindset of achievement, because I can be a little bit there, yeah.
Yeah. I get
But
it.
because I am a storyteller, I love stories. Similar to you, how did we come about the universe? So if religion is saying this, what is science saying? It's
Yeah.
like, what is the frequency? What is quantum physics? What is,
Yeah.
but I'm not in depth like where you are, but I, on an entertainment level, I can listen to a podcast or a book or whatnot talking about all these things and
Yeah.
pulling from it, even our sense of spirituality, prayers being answered, etc., etc. The science and the spirituality being pulled together. So I
Yeah.
fully understand that. Um, so I think I digressed.
Well, you make a good point, because I always, because people love this. It's people say things like it's either you're a scientist or you're religious or you're spiritual. That you can't have them both. I think they're both saying the same thing in different ways, and
There.
it's like once you start to pay attention, you go like, oh my gosh, like, because for me, science science can explain science can explain how things are doing what they're doing, but it
Yeah.
can't explain why things are doing what they're
What they're
doing.
doing.
We know how physics works, we know how all that works, but what put physics in place? Why is there physics? Because
Yes.
if everything was just random, then why are there laws that govern things? So what put
Yes.
these things that govern things in
Yes.
place? And that, for me, is like, these are the questions that we should be asking ourselves: is, if we exist in a universe that obeys principles, where did these principles come from,
Come from.
and why
Yes.
are they? Because they don't
Yes.
have to be. They could be anything. So
Yeah.
why are there patterns in the
Yes.
universe? Why?
Yes.
And I find that
Yes.
just so fascinating. And that's why for me, science, and I'm spiritual and scientific. So for me, they both kind of keep trying to answer each other's questions, and it's just like, but which one is which? And it's just a beautiful thing. I love it.
But sometimes what I find is that spirituality, because as human beings, I think we have a sense of there is something bigger, greater, um, keeping us in line. If we say Newton's third law of motion, how do you call it? My little fixes is coming out.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. If an
you
object is
know,
in motion, an object in motion stays in motion. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, yeah,
e-
yeah,
exactly. And then we have karma. We talk about karma. It's following the same principles.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
following the same principles. So you have this in physics, you have karma in spirituality, following the same principles. So, which means for me, what I do believe is that physics is catching up to what spirituality already knew,
yeah, yeah,
already knows. It's not giving us, an explanation to it. And that's the beauty, that's the beauty of it.
yeah.
Okay, so technology and music. Ah, that's
Here
it.
we go.
I meant to say that, listen, I am in awe of you. I am proud of you. I'm not saying this for your head to swell and become big, eh? No.
A little bit though. It's getting a little bigger.
And the reason massive respect is pulling all these things together. That makes it, for lack of a better word, beautiful, sexy. It's like, mm, that is it. And I hope that whoever that watches this interview, or podcast, wherever that they watch, has the opportunity to understand that, because you are a nurse, because you are a chemical engineer, electronic engineer, whatever it is, you are not stuck in one box. Most
Yeah.
especially for those of us coming from, the continent of
Hmm.
Africa, because when I speak to people and I tell them my background is nursing and you're doing this, yes, and I'm doing this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Is it difficult? Yes, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Have I
Yeah.
been stood up? Yes, I've been stood up. But
I
it
mean, you work
doesn't mean
late.
I stop.
Yeah, you have sleepless nights sometimes, and it's a lot, but like you're passionate, so you're gonna do it. If you have a passion for something, you will do it. Even if there could be a hurricane, and you'll still find a way to do the thing you love because it's like your air. It's like if you don't do it, you're not breathing, you're not living. So, I get it 100%.
So that leads me to the next question, which is that you pulling everything together, and for you have a partner. I'm not
Yeah.
putting your business out, but I'm putting your business out. You have but some of the challenges that some people have is that they pursue their passions, their
Hmm.
partners are not in support of that. What is, in your view, what is an advice that you could give, or a conversation you can have on that?
I think I think it's you don't have to understand something that someone does, but you can recognize their love and passion for it. And I think
Mhm,
that's where me and my partner, her name is Ora Marzo. She's also
mhm,
a creative. She paints. She also studied graphic design. She does
mhm.
photography, and she's actually a really important part of my own creative journey because my cover arts, my photography for my music, the videos, she does all of that, and she does it.
Whoa.
Yeah, she does all of that. It's like I whenever I have a new song coming out, I go through and I go like, hey, this is the song I'm working on right now, and I wonder I need to release it. Could you help me create the cover art? And she said, absolutely, and she does, and it's always because she knows how much I love it. She
Mhm,
supports it, and it goes both ways. I support everything she does because she loves it so much, and I think that's what it is. If you love someone,
mhm,
then you want to be a part of whatever they do, even if you don't understand it. And then so I think if you feel like maybe your partner is not supportive, I think you should also ask yourself, are you being supportive of your partner? Like
mhm,
it goes both ways, and I think I'm lucky that I met someone that allows me that gives me the freedom to be everything that I am, doesn't ask me
mhm,
to make myself small.
mhm.
And I think as when you're with someone, I think sometimes we forget that life is about like we should play. Like you should have fun with your partner, like play. We play video games
Mhm.
together, we film funny skits together, like we're still like little kids enjoying the
Gets
things
at
that we
heart.
do.
Yeah.
So like don't forget to be kids at heart, because I think sometimes as adults we're so fixated on what we have to do that we forget to
Mhm,
actually be in the moment and exist. So if you
mhm,
feel your partner is not supportive, like I said, ask yourself if you're supporting your partner, and speak to your partner. Like talk to them, tell them that this is something that's important to you, and ask them if that's important, like if your passion is important to them. And if it's not, then I think you have a bigger question to ask yourself: is do you want to be with someone that doesn't care about the things you care about? It's like, do you truly want to be with someone that doesn't care enough that you care about something? Because
yeah.
for me, it doesn't matter. If I love talking to people that are passionate about something, like you sit down with them and they start talking to you about how much they love the way shoelaces are made. I know nothing about the way shoelaces are made, but if someone tells me how much
Mm-hmm.
they love shoelace fabrication and they're so passionate about it, hey, I will sit down and I'm like, let's talk about this because I'm fascinated by how much you're fascinated.
You know,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, 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 yes. Oh, wow, wow. I knew we were going to have an amazing conversation. Right now, my brains are going a little bit. It's like, whoo, what you're saying is really true, but it's unfortunate that many of the women who are passionate about their profession and other stuff hit brick walls with their partners, or vice versa. The males also hit brick walls with the partners that they have, creating a death in creativity,
Yeah,
or a stall in creativity. But I wish many of us will be open-minded
yeah,
to people's passions and creativity. I believe that given the opportunity for the person, as you said, to be explore, they bring their best to you, as well as if you explore your creativity, you bring the best of you to the table.
yeah.
Otherwise,
But,
it's a difficult conversation to
well,
have.
I think it goes to we were talking about mental health before. I think a lot of people don't.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I think I know growing up for me, mental health was something that was not talked about. It was not talked about. It was almost taboo for me to have feelings and emotions. So
Oh,
especially as a man, growing up, it was just
and a
like,
black
as a black
man.
man, it was like, yeah, hold it all in. Like, oh, if you're feeling some kind of way, you have to be strong. But like, I grew up to learn that strength doesn't mean hiding from yourself. Strength actually means being able to be open about how you truly feel
Mhm,
about things, being able to
mhm,
express yourself. Vulnerability for me is true strength. Like being able to say, I'm happy, I'm sad, being able to realize that you have things, traumas that you need to explore, you need to
mhm,
heal. That is strength. But shutting it all down and pushing pushing it under a carpet and hoping that it won't explode one day, that for me is that's detrimental to who you are, not just mentally but also physically. Like that's how all
yes.
these ailments happen, is because we kind of box everything in. So I'm here to say that men, women, but particularly men, don't be afraid to be emotional beings. It doesn't make you less of whatever you think you are. It actually makes you more. So don't be
Mhm,
afraid to be emotional beings and don't be afraid to explore your mental health, because sometimes when we block other people from exploring their
mhm,
creativity, it's because something inside of us is blocked. So what is it inside you that's blocked that is making it hard for you to
mhm,
accept someone else trying to
mm.
find themselves?
Wow, that is powerful. No, that is a home run. That is a home run. Man, phew, Stephen, that is a home run. Anybody, please, both men and women, or these days the other in betweens, whatever
Yeah.
this is a home run. You got to ask yourself what is blocking you.
Hmm.
Wow, wow. Because listen, I have walked out of a relationship because I was told that if my books are not bringing me money, to stop. If my podcast is not bringing me money, to stop.
It's like
And
no, no. I'm happy for you. Walked away. Good for you. Just gonna say that right there.
I beg
Uh,
you,
uh,
no be me. Ah,
live your life. Live your life.
yes. No, but for me, maybe this is the backstory of the podcast that I didn't put out there. Storytelling is very important to me. And as Black people, the narratives we tell. So, as much as I do this podcast, it's about telling our collective narrative here in the diaspora, so that any black boy, black girl, any person that is listening who happens to be of our background can take something from it and apply it to their lives. Like you said, Nigeria, if you are not, so my background, labor and delivery nurse. If you have four children, the first one, if you are Nigerian, you have four children. The first one can be a lawyer, a doctor, an engineer. The last one, either boy can be Burner Boy, or if it's a girl, can be Stewart Savage, can be the artist.
It's so true. I'm a family of four. We're four children, so you four four children, and it's like my little sister is the youngest of all, and it's absolutely true. Like she could do no wrong. She could have said, "I want to be a whatever," and my family, parents would be like, "Absolutely." But no lie was said.
I didn't know your background, but this is so funny.
It's perfect.
This is so funny. But there is this other creativity thing that, as you speaking, it's also coming to mind amongst many of us Black people, that you meet Black scientists and even presidents and whatnot, lawyers, but they always have, even say psychologists, they write. They are also storytellers.
Mhm.
So that is the beauty of many of us as Africans, that I think we need to really pay keen attention to, that irrespective of the fact that we do the hard sciences or the core sciences, we also have that ability to create
Mhm.
narratives, beautiful narratives. Now, I am not sure. Maybe it's the culture of storytelling, oral storytelling we grew up in, the culture of listening to high life music or Afrobeat these days. Wherever you are, music is blaring out loud,
Mhm.
which half of the time I get headaches and migraines when I'm in Ghana, because noise pollution, Charlie. No green. When was the last time you were in Nigeria?
Oh man, I have to go back. It was before the pandemic. It's been a while. It's been a while, but my goal, I wanted to go this year, but I can't. But next year for Christmas, I want to go with my all my siblings. I want to go back. I want to go to the village. I want to go to Owerri.
Oh, where are you?
Owerri, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I
Nice.
was born in Port Harcourt, River States, but I'm Imo. I'm
Okay.
an Igbo boy. Imo States is where my family is from, and I want to go back, and I
Mm-hmm.
just want to go and just celebrate my heritage and just go back because it's been
Yes.
so long. It's been too long.
Yes, yes, yes. The other artist you remind me of is Jadena.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
Once upon a time, he was my top favorite artist. You've replaced him.
Yes. I'm so sorry though, but yes.
You've replaced him. Yes. So how do you find the balance between life, work, music? Because I know you have just recently, a couple of days ago, you had a new single
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
You're working full time,
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
and you're also performing.
Yes. Yes.
You're
Yes.
also on stage.
Yeah. Yeah. I performed recently for an event. I headlined, and I forget the name right now, but Music and Discovery, and
Yeah.
I was a headliner, so we had a really long set. It was like almost an hour. Actually, the set itself was supposed to only be 30 minutes, but I made it almost an hour because I wanted to have fun. I wanted to bring all the artists that I've collaborated with in the last few years
Hmm.
up on stage with me, and I wanted to just have a good time. So that was a blast. But yeah, so I'm doing all of the things, and I think because I don't create that separation mentally between the artist, the engineer, the person in the
Hmm.
relationship, the entrepreneur. I don't create a separation. For me, they're all things that fall under the umbrella that is Stephen. Like I
Steven.
am the being, and these are all things that I can do. They're not different versions of me. They're things that I do.
Hmm.
And so because of that, I always take it that all of these things are just feeding the greater the greater being, so to speak.
Hmm.
And because of that, I don't feel like I'm partitioning myself. And I think it's very important for us to realize that, because I think a lot of the time we go, okay, well, right now I'm doing my 9 to 5, and okay, once that's done, I'm gonna go do my other thing. But they're separated. So, and then when you do that, you kind of create this like it's like you're breaking yourself into different pieces, and you're
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
reconciling them. So it feels hard to manage.
Mhm.
But when you tell yourself like, look, me being an engineer or whatever the case is allowing me to put more into my music, and me doing my music is giving me
Mhm.
the mental creativity to feed another side of myself. Then it's all intertwined, and because it's all intertwined, it feels like I'm just nourishing myself. So I think it's a mental
Mhm.
thing. You just have to stop separating who you are in your brain and start realizing that it's all one and the same.
I think next year you have to be part of this this seminar that I am thinking of creating, because many people, especially in the continent, need this message. And whew,
I would love to. Whatever it is you're doing, let me know. I'm in.
it, it's the life enrichment seminar.
I would absolutely love to be part of it.
And because I sought it out, and I realized that there isn't much, especially for those of us here in Canada.
Hmm.
But if you're looking at the US, they have various avenues. So if I'm looking for and I can't get, that means I need to create it.
Yes.
And I know there are wonderful people out there to, you have beautiful. ah, I don't normally get, lots of words, but Stephen, God
Oh,
bless your mother.
oh
Mm,
yes, thank
mm,
you, thank you,
mm,
thank you,
mm, mm,
thank you.
mm. I hope my son grows up to be like you, follow your passion, do
Ah,
everything, be happy, and just blossom in the world, and give. You have a beautiful heart. You have a beautiful heart, and it just shines through.
you just
It
blessed
just,
me, so thank you so much. I'm very grateful, and it goes both ways. So it goes both ways. You're a wonderful being, and I'm very grateful to be a part of this conversation with you.
I beg, I would have hunted you. I would have been like the ghost. Are we doing conversation or we doing podcast?
We're doing whatever we want to do. We define whatever it is we want to do. That's it.
Yes, I'll be like one of those ghosts. I'll come and say, Steven, this is Nana Yayabua. Come, I'm taking you to Ghana.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. I would actually love to go to Ghana. I would love to go to Ghana. Yes. That,
And when you're ready, let me know.
yes, absolutely.
Yes, yes, yes. So let's talk about something that is more like business, like branding.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yes, because you are in the music, sphere, and you need to brand yourself a certain way to sell yourself. So, in your opinion,
Mhm.
what is branding and how do you utilize it? So, any person who is thinking about coming into entertainment, or even just thinking about putting themselves out there in the public sphere,
Yeah.
to be aware of
So here's one
branding.
one thing I've learned over time is that I think people tend to believe that you have to create this image, and then that's the image you have to sell. But for me, branding really is, it boils down to whether or not you know yourself. It's very important
Mm,
that you know yourself. You should be able to
mm,
look, and that's why I'm a very big advocate of mental health, because once you take the time to explore your mind and explore all the things that need to
mm,
be explored, it becomes a lot easier for you to communicate who you are. And
mm,
I think for especially a lot of artists and even honestly businesses and entrepreneurs in general, they tend to believe that they're only as valuable as the last thing they put out. So they tend to make whatever product it is that they're selling the center of attention as opposed to
mhm,
themselves. And for me, it's making you. You are
mhm,
the brand. Everything that you do is falls under your brand. But when you make people discover who you are as a person, it doesn't matter what you do. They will be
mhm,
more receptive to it because they know that it's coming from you. So people
Mm-hmm.
know that I make music. I'm also an actor. I'm in engineering. I'm in tech. I'm also a massive geek. I do all of these things. I love science. And when I talk about these things on my platforms, no one goes, "Well, what are you talking about? It's different from what he normally does." They
Mm-hmm.
don't do that. They
Mm-hmm.
just go like, "Yeah, that's Stephen being Stephen." They go like, "That's that's Stephen. He's established that this is who he is," and it's because
Yes.
I make myself the brand. So branding for me is self-awareness. Once you know yourself, you won't even have to think, because I don't sit down and go like, oh, I wonder which posts I'm going to make today, or which post I'm going to do
Mm-hmm.
this week, or what color patterns I want to do. I don't think about all those things. I just do
Mm.
what I know feels right to me. And because I'm
Mm-hmm.
being honest about myself, people are receiving it, because there is no falsitude in what I'm portraying. So
Mm-hmm.
just, yeah, your branding really boils down to whether or not you know yourself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I know a lot of companies and a lot of labels and things like that would try to tell you like, oh, let me brand you. It's like, no, no,
Yes.
you brand yourself, because the second you
Yes.
let someone else tell you who you are is the quickest way to get lost in yourself.
Mm, 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 mm. Ah, I asked a simple question. I thought I was getting a
No,
simple answer.
no, no.
This this one, when you think you are just cutting a small tree, now you have the whole Iroko tree right in front of you. Now you have to chop it.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right. That's right. I think it's super important for our people to get
It
like,
is.
learn about yourself, because, and and this is, and it's not part of the question, but it's similar. And I always tell artists to learn all aspects of the
Mm-hmm.
business and do them all, especially initially, because it's only once you've done them all that you know which parts you're willing to delegate away, and you
Mm-hmm.
know the value of each part, because it's so easy to get abused in this industry by people that tell you, "Oh yeah, I did this for you. It's worth $10,000," and you go like, "No, no,
Mm-hmm.
I've done that before. I know what it entails, and I know that you're full of it right now." So I'll
Yes.
learn the business industry so that you can be a commanding voice in it. I just wanted to say that.
No, I think that is great. The one thing that you said about, knowing yourself,
Hmm.
and that is a difficulty that many people have.
Hmm.
And across the board, when I speak to people, it's like, what are your core values as a human being? And they look at me like, yes, you need to know what your core values are.
Yeah, yeah,
So in my profession, dealing with human beings, with all our dramas and whatnot, that is a question that if I am teaching any new nurse, you need to tell me what your core values are.
yeah,
If you don't know, that is your assignment.
yeah,
Go find out.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely.
But I find that irrespective of students, young people, old people, you ask them, many of us are just walking through life without any understanding of who we are.
Yeah, yeah,
And sometimes I feel sad that we need to know and understand who we are to become better human beings, better fathers, mothers, partners, and everything in this world.
yeah. 'Cause I feel like it's so easy to get lost in, if you don't know your core values, it's easy to get lost in what everyone else believes. Because if because sometimes people will generally just, they won't like, they say, oh, I don't like that thing. Like, oh, why don't you like that thing? Oh, because. But why don't you like that thing? Because this person doesn't like it. But like, why don't you like it?
You
They
like
can't
it,
answer it
yeah.
because they just go with the mob. And I feel like it's such a
Hmm.
dangerous thing if you allow yourself to become an extension of the mob, of a mob
Hmm.
mentality. Then who are you? You're gonna follow
Hmm.
anything without any understanding of why you're following it. So for me, I think my core value is to always make sure that I understand who I
Hmm.
am and what I'm trying to achieve, and take the time to learn. Even if I take the time to learn both sides of any argument, because I want to know, well, I know what this belief is, but why is the other belief so strong? Let me explore both and
Hmm.
see where the real truth is. So yeah, I think it's important to learn who you are so you don't get lost in everyone else's thoughts.
Yeah. What is it that if the lion does not begin to tell its story, the story is forever glorified by the hunter. I think I've yeah, something like that.
That is beautiful.
You know, that is one thing that reminds me of where we come in from, the motherland, the continent of Africa, the proverbs and the vast sayings that our ancestors has given to us
Hmm.
to help guide us and bring the best out of us,
Hmm.
but we have somehow gotten lost, not knowing ourselves because of either colonization and our still colonial educational systems, that we don't know who we are.
Hmm.
As Chinua Achebe will say, things fall apart.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
We have fallen apart,
Yeah.
which is really,
Yeah.
really sad. So that brings me into um, conversation that was not part of our big kind of conversation, but as people, you and I live in this part, you may have faced it. I sure know I have gone through it. For the mere fact of, you see me, you see a black woman. I see you, I see a black man with
That's
locks.
right. Yeah. 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 I know exactly what you're gonna say. Racism.
Oh, 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 oh. The reason why I'm asking this question is that I've also been keen on racism amongst black men, racism towards black men and their mental health,
Hmm.
because it's, for me, being frontline, being like this, sometimes the things you hear. See, I'm too old for a lot of bullshit, so what may fly out of my mouth is a different story. But I think I'll edit this part out.
This part, this part might get cut. We'll see. We'll see.
but you know, yes, what are some of the experience, because you were in Montreal, you went to McGill. Montreal is a different story, McGill is a different story. What are some of the experiences you could share, and
Um,
for the young folks that chances, what are some of the ways they can overcome?
yeah, I have. I think. I think especially in Canada, there's people tend to believe that racism doesn't exist, and I think it's mostly
I beg you.
people that don't have to experience it are the ones that say like, "Hey, what are you talking about? Racism is not very apparent here." It's like, yes, because you don't have to see it. Um, it's in we see it in racism. We see it in either blatant in your face racism or just microaggressions, like little
Yes.
things that you just and then I think for a long time we've been told to like smile and just like go like, oh, that happened, okay, just let's not make a big deal. But like I'm getting to the point in my life where it's unfortunate that we have to keep putting up with this, to keep putting with I'll tell you one of the stories that I've experienced that really, it kind of knocked me mentally down. I went to go visit a friend who worked as one of the security guards at an apartment building. Right, it was
Mhm.
in he, I was living in a neighborhood, and it was in my neighborhood. It was in my
Mhm.
neighborhood, and I just wanted to go say hello to him. So I was talking to him downstairs in the apartment building. We were talking, and an older man, obviously a Caucasian man, came
Yes.
in and he saw me talking to him, and he just kind of stood there and looked at us, and I wasn't really paying attention. And then he said, "What is this, nigger town?" And I couldn't even believe the level of audacity that someone could just say. I was so shocked that he said it. I almost wanted to clap at his audacity. He went into the elevator, went upstairs, and I was still shocked. My friend apologized to me profusely that this had to happen. But it's the first time in the living in Canada I really had something like that happen to me. And I just couldn't believe that this still happens, that we can still be so ignorant to one another, that you don't know my life story. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know who I am. You don't know that my beliefs. You don't know anything about me. And the first thing you see is my color of skin, and you instantly associate that with negativity. Why? You know why? And I think it's such an important conversation that we need to keep having. Um, and I know it's hard for us because we need to keep repeating the same thing. Like, why do we have to keep
Mhm.
repeating these narratives? But we have to, because if we don't, who else is going to? You know, like people that go through diversity, that go through oppression, sorry, and intolerance.
Mhm.
We're the ones that have to speak up because no one else is going to do it for us. So it's important that we keep talking about it. We keep talking about what we deserve. That we are human beings and we deserve to be seen as human beings. It doesn't matter what your culture is, your religion is, the color of your skin, your beliefs, your gender. You're a human being and you're deserving of that respect. Um, so yeah, I mean, a lot of my songs talk about that, where I just talk about that
Mhm.
because it needs to be spoken, and it's very frustrating that we still keep going through that, and it's 2023, and why are we still here? You know?
It it is, and it's sad even for. I don't know whether you have children, but for me, my
Yeah.
children, my son got called a nigger
Mm-hmm.
whilst walking down the street,
Yeah.
minding his own business, coming home by these group of white kids, and she came. It's like, mommy, you can't believe what happened, and she's telling me, and it's like, I was so shocked I couldn't say anything, exactly like what you said.
Yeah.
So he just came home just to tell me. So the question is, how do you feel? How are you feeling? Do you want to talk about this? Like, no, it just blew my mind.
Yeah.
It just blew his mind that we live here in this part of, Canada, where he's never had that experience before, and minding his own business, he went to do his volunteer work, coming home
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
to go through this. It's highly unfair.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's highly unfair, and I keep asking why.
Yeah. Why? And I don't think these people that do this, they don't understand the weight it is that we have to hold this weight. And I'm not going to get into too much about it, but there's a few months ago, actually a few weeks ago, I was on my way to an event, and I was really excited about this event. I was gonna go talk to some students that dance. They wanted to show me the dances that they made from my music, and I was gonna talk to them about like my experiences in music and dance. And I was really
Hmm.
excited to go tell my story and see what they came up with because that's exciting. And
It, is it the one out there? I was watching a music video of students that have created a dance to one of your music.
yeah, it's one. So it's the same. So that's it's the same students, but it's a
Okay.
different year of that
Okay.
group, and they're really awesome. They're
Hmm.
creating something really cool, and I can't wait to share that. But anyway, I was on my
Hmm.
way. I was excited about that, and I got an email, and I opened my email, and it was the most racist thing, and I had to, and I remember, I read it, and I said, "Wow, wow." But I was on my way to this thing, so I had to put it away. I had to mentally put it away so I can go do the thing I'm doing. And it's only when I came back home and I came to my partner and I had to tell her, I was like, yeah, this also happened. And she was so shocked, but like the way it came out of my mouth was almost like, yeah, this happens all the time. Like, and for her, it was like, I can't believe that it's something that happens so often for us that we are almost like so nonchalant about the experience because it's become commonplace. This shouldn't be commonplace. Like we shouldn't be like, oh yeah, and someone was racist. It shouldn't be like, and also this happened today. No, it should be like, I can't believe this happened. So yeah, the world
Yeah.
still needs growth. The world still needs growth.
We still do need growth, and I always say, when you see an angry black woman,
Hmm.
there's a reason why that black woman is angry.
Yeah.
And when you start with that, don't let me take you on a historical narrative. Oh, I will go way, 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 way deep. That one. By the time I finish with you, you are standing there just looking at me like, it's like, oh, I've been so stupid. Yes, there's a historical narrative to it. That is the more important reason for me. Our narratives matter. Us telling our own stories matter. Like yesterday, I told somebody, do not put words I have not used
Hmm.
in my mouth.
Hmm. Hmm.
Don't even try that.
Yeah.
I beg. You know that the thesaurus. I will pull everything out of the thesaurus, and the grammar that will come out, you would you need a dictionary.
Yep. Yeah, I'd be like, I need to go study
You need
grammar
a
and words.
dictionary too. Man, man, Stephen, we've talked about technology, we've talked about music, we've talked about mental health, we've talked about beginnings, we've talked about
We
racism,
talk about all of
core values.
it.
We've touched on major life themes. Even though we've been laughing through it all, I think that's the
That's
beauty
the beauty
of
of it.
it.
Yep.
Yes, we've touched on major things. So, with all this, do you have an end goal?
Oh yes, my end goal. So if you had asked me years ago when I first started in this scene, my end goal would have been like, I just want to be famous and blah blah blah. The very like surface level nonsense. And now is I just want to keep growing as a human being. And I want to keep growing my platform, not because I crave fame, but because I want to have a platform to speak my truth that can make a difference. I want to
Mm,
have an impact in this world. When I'm gone, I want
mm,
the things that I believed in that could influence positive change to continue to resonate on this world, because I
mm,
think that's the most important thing that we can do as with our time on this planet, is to leave something behind that helps us evolve that much more as human beings. That's my goal. My end goal is to be a part
mm,
of what drives us into the future positively.
mm. Legacy,
Legacy.
legacy,
Legacy.
legacy, legacy. Mm. Oh my goodness. You are able to just leave me speechless. Man. No, 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 no. Not many people are able to leave me speechless. So if you do that, oof, you're able to leave me speechless. Stephen, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate you, like I said. This has been a wonderful conversation. Just before we kind of round it up,
Okay.
what do you have? I know I've pulled a lot out of you, but I know there's still more in you
More.
I haven't even tapped.
Always more.
I have not even tapped there. So, but we'll leave that for the next one.
Okay. Okay. I can't wait for the next one, to be honest. I just can't wait. This has been one of the most fun interviews I've had. I've had many interviews where I have to answer a bunch of just surface level questions. And so getting to dive in and have a real conversation. And I'm happy how we met, the circumstances in which we met, because, they all influence us, why we're here today. So I want to say that. I
Yes,
want to say I'm
yes.
grateful to you. I'm grateful for life, for bringing our journeys together. And that's the beauty of the universe. Like the universe began and here we are, billions of years later, our path is intertwined.
Amen. And I have this dream, and I pray the dream will come to a reality that we are doing this here in North America, that one day on the continent we can all come together with our various experiences, narratives to inform, to inspire, so that, just like you said, legacy,
Yes.
what we leave behind for the next generations will, continue going on, just like our great authors
Yeah.
and narratives also did leave behind for us. That, when I mentioned Chino Achebe, even if you've not read Things Fall Apart, you know the name, you know the narrative, the name of the narrative, and it keeps us going. I think we all do have a part to play in this world. And for me to become Nana Yaya Bua, I need Stephen
Oh,
Voice. And whatever I can do to support your journey, your beautiful journey, which I'm in awe of, you let me know. I am at your service.
wow.
My one and only
Oh,
Oyibo
you both.
Pepe. Ibo Kwenu.
Oh man, I appreciate you. I really do. And it goes both ways. It goes both ways. If ever you need anything from me, I'm more than happy. Your seminar next year, let me know about it. I'm happy to jump on. This has been a fantastic conversation.
Thank you.